Okay, so hi, my name is Jacob Blair, and for both Project 1 and Project 2, I focused on the issue of racial discrimination in America. Even though we've made progress, racism still shows up in many parts, places, and everyday life, um, from politics to education, public places, and healthcare. Um, My research looked into how these systems affected Black Americans, especially Black women. And one of the most surprising things that I was learning about while I was doing this research, well, first of all, to number it down, I chose this topic because there was just um, there's a lot of data, there's a lot of information. It's, I mean, the Civil Rights Act was a long time ago, but I feel like even in modern day, April 2025, um, this stuff is just still happening. And so, anyways, back to one of my most interesting findings. One of the things that surprised me the most is I learned how racist discrimination still quietly shapes opportunities. Like, for example, Black students are punished more harshly in schools, even for the same behavior as any other student. There was a case in Texas where a Black student got suspended twice over his hairstyle, even though laws exist to prevent that kind of discrimination. You know what I mean? I also learned that Black women face a double challenge in politics. They're underrepresented and often judged more harshly than others, which means their opportunities, needs aren't always heard or addressed. Um, yeah. How the research has changed me. Um, Doing this research has opened my eyes to how deep and widespread these issues still are. I used to think of racism as something mostly in the past, but now I see how it still affects real people every day in ways that are sometimes subtle but very damaging. It made me more aware, and I realized how important it is to listen, to speak up, and support policy changes. So, my summary for Project 2 was I argued that we needed stronger anti discrimination policies and more public awareness. I talked about four major areas: politics, education, public safety, and healthcare. In politics, Black women are underrepresented and face racism even when running for office. In schools, Black students deal with unfair punishment, underfunded schools, in public places, racial profiling. It's just all still very common, whether it's shopping or flying. And even in healthcare, Black people often don't get the same quality of treatment, which affects both their mental and physical health. Um, the easiest part of this writing, for Project 2, was choosing examples. There was just so many real stories and sources to support my points. The hardest part, honestly, was organizing everything clearly and not getting overwhelmed by how big the topic is. I overcame that by breaking it into sections, one for each area, and focusing on just the most powerful examples. Um, my target audience, my target audience would be people in power, lawmakers, school board, healthcare leaders, but also everyday people who might not realize how deep these issues go. As for the future, I hope things change in the next 5 years. Maybe we'll see more representation in politics, better school policies. In 20 years, I hope these issues are a part of history, not daily life, but that depends on whether we're speaking up or pushing for change. One question I still have is how we can hold systems accountable more effectively. It's one thing to pass laws, but how do you make sure they're actually followed in schools or hospitals? But this is the end of my presentation. Thanks for watching. I've learned a lot about this project, and I hope it inspires more conversations and action. We all have a role to play in today's society, creating a more fair and equal society. Okay. Thank you.